Hello there, welcome to another infj ramble. I don't know how this video is going to play out, but um, recently I've been getting a lot of, or I've been compelled to explore mental constructs and also no mind. So getting out of your mind. And what does that mean? So I think you can relate to this, but from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, I feel like you're constantly being bombarded by information in many forms from all directions all the time, and it's a lot for the brain to process. To be honest, sometimes I get, how do I say? Sometimes I get overloaded with information and I literally shut down. And I feel like when I get to a point, well, it's not a blessing to get to a point to shut down, but it kind of is. And let me explain that. So because we are constantly being bombarded by information and we are being forced to process too much in such a small expanse of time, I feel like that makes the brain go into a type of state where it becomes very stressed out and it just kind of shuts down. In the beginning when I would get these, how do I say, these experiences, it was very scary because, you've been taught that you need to function a certain way and you need to process a certain way and you need to go at a certain pace, right? I think you've been taught that, and then you've created a construct in your mind based on your expectations, and you believe the construct and you believe you're supposed to be functioning at a certain rate of speed and you're supposed to be processing a certain way and you're supposed to be doing and doing and doing, right? They've programmed us to be almost robotic. But most recently I've just been like so overwhelmed with information, and I just wouldn't be able to process it, and I'd have to either go home and sleep for hours on end, or during like the work time I would literally just shut down. And it's funny, if you can observe yourself during that transitory phase, you realize that you enter a space within yourself that disconnects from the mind, and you almost enter a flow state. That's what I want to call it. It's a flow state. And because I have encountered enough situations where I was almost forced to enter this flow state, it's helped me to access a space within myself beyond my mind. And I've adjusted better to it, so I can tell when, my mind is processing too much too fast and it's about to stress out and burn out. And then I'll just kind of like disconnect on my own and then enter the flow state where I just kind of like, it's weird. It's like a dimension of yourself that is not being run or overruled by the mind. It's like a very, very present place where you access like a very like inner peace, I guess. And you just kind of like step back and you allow everything to be and allow everything to do, and everything just kind of falls together on its own effortlessly. I was also telling my other half that, because he's constantly tense, he's always in a state of tension, and I notice like he makes things more difficult than they need to be. He exerts a lot of energy, and he gets a quarter of the stuff that I could get done in, you know, half effort. And I told him the trick is to release tension, release expectations, get out of the mind, and just with every movement, just kind of, flow. And, with every movement, you're constantly getting something done, and it's happening on its own accord versus you going like, okay, I need to get this done, and being very tense, and then like trying to get it, trying to do it a certain way, and trying to like control the outcome, and you're always tense. I just kind of like detach from that, and I kind of like just every movement is utilized. Every movement, everything I do, something is getting done with, and it's very graceful, it's very effortless, it's almost like a dance. Like I said, the flow state. But I think like to some extent, the brain needs to be pressured and pushed out of the way in order for you to access or to even know that this is accessible. You know what I mean? And it's actually I find a more harmonious way of allowing things to get done. Instead of controlling like the things around you and the people around you, controlling the outcome, you just kind of allow everything to fall into place effortlessly, and you just kind of move with it, versus tensing and fighting and with your expectations and outcomes, I don't know if it made sense. Anyhow, blessings to one and all. Amen.